Hello everyone, my name is Shafaat and today we will be interviewing these two amazing IB students to get some tips and tricks for the extended essay, which if I recall is an essay every full IB student has to write.
Yeah, it's mandatory for IB curriculum.
So if you two could introduce yourselves.
Alright, so
talk to us about what your EE was.
Yeah, so my name is Sébastien. I'm an IB Year 2 student, and for my extended essay I decided to do it in French B. Having said, my research question was, to what extent are René Lévesque and his Parti Québécois government responsible for the preservation of French in Quebec?
I'm Ben, and I did my EE in history, and my research question was, to what extent was the British mandate in Iraq from 1920 to 1932 for economical pursuits?
So, we here have prepared 6 questions for you guys to answer.
Okay.
And just to get the audience, just let them know how this EE works and how they can do well on their EEs, because you two did so well. And furthermore, we have such a wide variety from history to French. It's so amazing that we have you two here. So to begin, the first question we have is, how did you choose your subject, topic, and research question?
All right, well, one of the tips I would give to you, the student viewing this video, is that you should choose a subject that interests you, right, Ben?
Of course.
It is very important for you to choose a subject that interests you, because not only will it's gonna allow you to score higher, but also you'll have more background information, and you'll be, overall, the writing experience of writing your EE is gonna be much more enjoyable. And also, I recommend that you choose a topic with a lot of information. This is because your EE is a 4,000 word essay, right? So you want to have a lot of information, but also you want to have not too much in the sense that it needs to be specific, you know? Not too broad, but not too narrow, in a sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so Sebastian, just as a side note, do you think that the fact that you are from Quebec and you know French helped you? How do you think that would be different for someone who isn't
Yes, so
French speaking?
yeah, that's a good question. I think, of course, it helped me with the writing process, but basically, what I did in my EE is view and analyze the cultural aspects and the effects of René Lévesque's government, and really see the causes and effects of what they did. So for the research itself, not really, but for the writing process, for instance, like grammar and spelling, then yeah, obviously it helped.
So it's fair to say that any English-speaking, whose first language is English, individual could also write a French EE.
Yes,
just
definitely.
because of researchers.
Yeah, because it's not, although grammar and the way you write is important, obviously it's important, but for French B, specifically, the things that are graded is more about the content.
Okay, all right. So our second question is, what type of methods did you do your research?
Well, personally, I consulted our local university library. It has a vast portal that could be used to narrow down your topic, and I actually found a book that I could base my initial research off of, which was great. And also, it's not recommended, but I purchased a couple books online, and I found that one of the books I purchased was really useful in my essay. Finally, websites are a very good source of information, and it allows you to have a varied bibliography.
Yeah.
So,
just to add on what you said, Ben, it's really it's very important for you to have a variety of sources, because not only is it going to allow you to get a lot of perspectives, but for instance, what I did, I used a few books, obviously, and a few websites, but I also used interviews, because I knew that it would allow me to get, for instance, the opinions of historians and etc. Right? So it's good to have professionals that are supporting whatever argument you're putting within your EE. Yeah.
So I don't know which everyone can answer this, but what do you think were the pros and maybe even cons of using a primary source compared to a secondary source? when doing your
Well,
research?
I think primary sources are the best in using for essays, but they're harder to find, obviously.
Yeah.
So if you can have lots of primary sources, that's good. Secondary sources are good for
Yeah.
revisionist
Yeah,
perspectives.
because not only are they less biased, but it allows you to view whatever event you're investigating, to view it into a non-biased perspective.
All right.
Yeah. And also because there could be more information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which allows you to have a better view of the two sides of.
All right. So, and I know this is a big one. How I understand that you guys are provided supervisors who
Yeah.
have knowledge on the topic that you're doing your
Yeah.
research on. How important were the discussions with those supervisors, and what did you kind of talk about?
Yeah, so it's important to first choose the right supervisor, one that is related to your field. So I did mine in history, so I chose a history teacher, and that is very important. You want a supervisor that's knowledgeable in your subject. Secondly, when you meet with your supervisor, it's very, very important to take their tips on what they have to give you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
It's really important to value what they have to say. They got experience, right?
Yeah.
And so you really want to value their tips. And also, to add on to that, don't just ask for advice from your supervisor. Also ask advice from friends
Yeah.
or people that you know, because it can not only give you better ideas, but it can help you write an overall better essay. Right?
All right. So our next question is about the writing process itself. I understand it was a long essay. Took
Yeah.
you, how long did it take you?
Well, me, I began my research like in the summer before
Okay.
I started the IB, or in between year 1 and year 2.
All right.
And I briefly researched, just as
Yep.
casually, and that's where the importance of choosing a topic that you're interested in comes, right? Because
Yeah.
if you got a topic that you're interested in,
Yeah.
it's not going to feel like you're working when you're doing your research. Having been said, how did I start my writing process? I began early.
Okay.
I started by making a mind map of all of the ideas I made
Yeah.
throughout my research during the summer. And then with this mind map, I was able to make a table of contents
Yeah.
on which I was able to separate whatever argument I wanted to talk about throughout my essay. And then once I did that, I also title per title, and I made a schedule on which title I would complete on each day, for instance. And also keep in mind, it's important for you to do your citations when you're doing your research, something I did not do.
Yeah, that's a good
And
one.
yeah, you should do them before.
Do them beforehand.
Yeah.
When writing the essay, what kind of citation format did you have you guys use?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter?
Also,
But the IB doesn't care.
yeah, you can use APA, MLA, whatever you're more comfortable with.
Exactly.
So just adding on to that,
Yeah.
how did you manage your time?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I made a schedule,
Yeah.
and then of whatever. So for instance, on one day I would do this, this, and that. And also, I think it's better for you to do your essay throughout the year. So
Yeah.
a little bit each week, rather than all together,
Yeah.
because not only are you gonna feel less stressed,
Yeah.
but it's gonna allow you to
Just write a better overall
essay. Yeah. And you're gonna feel more confident when you hand this in, right?
It's fair to say that proper time management and organization is the key.
Yeah.
To getting good.
Yeah.
course.
IB essay.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So finally, for our final question, this is kind of fun because you don't have to explain or anything.
Yes.
But are there any extra tips and tricks as you mentioned before that you guys would like to?
Well, yeah. As I mentioned throughout this interview,
Yeah.
you got to do a lot of research. It's better to have more information,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter really if it's not specifically related to your research question. It's
Yes.
good to have a lot of background information because it allows you to make a stronger analysis and also to refer to specific events, which really shows the person that's correcting your essay that you know what you're talking about, right?
Exactly. You also
Yeah.
gotta budget your time accordingly. Don't save it all for the last week,
Yeah.
month, whatever.
Yeah, some of our friends did that.
No.
Not a good idea.
Yeah, not a good idea. And also, as I mentioned earlier, have a lot of people to read your EE. It gives you more perspectives.
Doesn't matter your supervisor, friends,
Yeah.
teachers, exact. Just get as many people to read it as possible.
Yeah,
It's always
and
a good idea.
also try to finish your EE, for instance, like a week before
Yeah.
the deadline, because, like I said earlier, you're going to feel more confident about what you wrote, and also because it's going to allow you to to pay attention to those silly mistakes, that you wouldn't have made.
Next thing is take your EE very, very, very seriously. You're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
have lots of essays to write in university, so if you take this
Yeah.
one seriously, you know how to do it in university.
Yeah, and also to add on to that, for instance, for my university applications, I had an interview, and so throughout this interview, I was able to talk about my EE and my experience and what I learned from this, and so it's really important for you to do well, really.
And then, quick last two things: quantity is better than quality.
Yeah.
Don't add bulk to your essay; it won't be good.
Yeah.
And finally, Seb.
Also, to add on to what Ben said, remember the 3 C's. You got to be clear, concise, and cohesive. Remember those 3 words. They're going to be very important for the success for you writing a successful extended essay.
Always think of when you're writing sentences to think, oh, is this clear, concise, and cohesive?
3 C's.
All right. Before we end this amazing interview,
Yes.
I'd like to ask you one final question. You
Yes.
touched a bit on it when you're talking about your university
Yeah.
applications. What did you learn while writing your EEs?
Yes.
How did it help you grow, and how did you enjoy your time?
Well, for instance, as I think you mentioned earlier, I am from Quebec. I have a background with this province of Canada. Having been said, it allowed me to understand why there are some tensions, in a sense, between their political,
Different political parties.
between the different political parties,
Alright.
and also between what people think of certain things. And so it really allowed me to get a good understanding of this overall. And
Benjamin,
Yep.
would you like to add on how did your EE help you in any sense?
I really believe it's going to help me in university when I
Yeah,
have to write
same.
those long essays.
yeah.
So it's just like everything might be preparing you
Yeah.
for life.
Because at first,
Yes.
like we felt prepared. We're not scared
Nope.
about starting. We really feel prepared. So,
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you so much for your
Yes.
time. I hope this interview helps a lot of people.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Good luck with your future life journey.
Yes.
you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.